I have a feeling that this is going to be a really good one. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a wonderful one out there on this slightly cloudy, overcast kind of day. We are listening to the track Blackstar from David Bowie off of his 2016 final album, Blackstar. We are listening to this. This was a very, very highly recommended and suggested track. We're listening to it specifically because it was suggested and sponsored, however, by Eric. So Eric, thank you so much for the supports and the suggestion. And this is a track that's been recommended for years and years and years. Kevin Dobson, Rob Hawk, David Emery. It's going to be a while. I'm not going to go over everybody. Dougie Jones, David Kershaw, James Paiva, Tom Cadeau, Liquid Iron, Jason Brandt, Matt Leopard. This list is going on. Jimbo Curtin, Dickie Fierce, Drumming Vulture. It's going down and down and down. This is Yakta Bay, Cluey, maybe even David Oliveris, I think, AK. The list goes on for a long time on this one. So thank you guys so much for the recommendation with David Bowie. Okay. While I don't have the full scope of this album and the ideas, I do know that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he was aware of his upcoming and impending death during the making of this album. And I would imagine that that plays in some ways into the story of the album and the music as well, from what I understand. But otherwise, I don't really know much about this album. I remember looking through comments, and throughout the years, we've been listening to some Bowie. We've gone through several albums from him. And everyone said to make sure I understand more about Bowie before diving into this album. So I think I've covered a decent amount of albums from Bowie now, and I love him. So I'm very, very excited to dive into this one. Now, from what I also understand, there's a music video for this track. We're going to just listen to the audio like we always do, like normal here. What I'm going to do, however, because I'm, with copyright, I always avoid videos. It's just, sorry, it's not worth it. The 2 times I've gotten copyright issues, it's always been with videos, unfortunately. Hence why I usually avoid those here. But I'll do that on Patreon. So I'm gonna do just the normal song here. If you want the video, go to Patreon. I'll have it up there sometime soon. Anyways, I'm excited. Let's go ahead and dive straight on in. I feel like we're gonna have a lot to talk about with this one. As a matter of fact, I know we are, because even as I bring up the Wikipedia article, there's some girth to it. Let's go ahead and dive on in, everyone. Hope you're having a lovely one out there. I appreciate you watching. Let's press the like button before we dive on in. Let's press it like I'm going to press it. Okay, here we go.
In the villa of our men, in the villa of our men, stands a solitary candle. In the center of it all, in the center of it all.
So unique.
You are
How mysterious.
on the day of execution, on the day of execution.
Interesting electronic sounds coming through.
Only women even smile. At the center of it all, at the center of it all, you are.
This modern electronic kind of bass sound from Bowie is very, very unique. At least to my ears from him. Is that Bowie playing sax? Not this time. It's a very unique emotion in this track, specifically. so interesting. The drums are high tempo, high energy.
In the villa
Music
of all men,
is warning and
in the
mysterious.
villa of all men, stands a solitary candle. At the center of it all, at the center of it all, your eyes.
It's like the darker turn that Scott Walker would take later on. Who's drumming on here? This is such a unique song. It's got that EMC jazz kind of sound to it. Or ECM jazz.
Something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter and stepped aside. Somebody else took his place and bravely cried, I'm a black star, I'm a black star. How many times does an angel fall? How many people lie instead of talking?
What a mood
tall?
change.
He trod on sacred ground, he cried loud into the crowd, I'm a black star, I'm a black star.
Almost could be a reference to Ziggy Stardust.
I can't answer why, just go with
Even the
me.
music sounds like more of that 70s era.
I'ma take you home, take your passport and shoes, and your sedatives, boo. You're the flash in the pan, I'm the great I am. I'm a black star, I'm a black star, way off my money, I've got game. I see right so wide, so open heart, it's plain. I want eagles in my daydreams, diamonds in my eyes. I'm a black star, I'm a black star. Something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter, then stepped aside. Somebody else took his place and bravely cried, I'm a black star, I'm a star, star, I'm a black star. I can't answer why.
This is such a cool change from the beginning.
We were born upside down, born the wrong way round.
Here it comes again, right? That haunting sound, the morning. very Eastern sound.
Little smile. At the center of it all,
What a cool diversion and difference we're hearing here with Bowie compared to everything that I've heard in his earlier career. This is so completely different. And yet in that halfway point, it kind of harkens back to those 70 days with the way the music plays and kind of gets into that specific funky rhythmic bounce, right? That is just very, very cool how different this is. Okay, even if as I had Spotify up, it would show me pictures and like parts of the video from the music video. Like I said, the music video, I'll watch it over on Patreon if you want to watch it there. But let's talk about the music because we're going to have a lot to dive into here. So obviously, first of all, Bowie, his voice is aged, still rich, still filled with meaning, still filled with passion. I love his maturity in his voice that we hear. And perhaps there's an air of wariness as well, but there's also an air of strength to the way that he sings here. I love it. I just think he has such a great voice. And I love the continuous repeated motifs of the oh, oh. Like it's just a very haunting, almost ghostly, near ghostly kind of sound coming from his lips that perfectly accents the almost monotone and monochromatic way he speaks. No. He kind of drones the verse in those first halves. And so there is a little bit of a tiredness to it. As he talks about an execution and death, like we're getting those feelings in just the way that he delivers that. Excellent. The drumming and the energy of the sound there rhythmically almost went at odds with the way he was performing, which I thought was kind of cool. The drumming here is going to be performed by Mark Juliana, who incredible drumming. Looking at who he's played with, I see Tigran Hamazasan, St. Vincent, Brad Meldal, Bowie, of course, Avishai Cohen. So a lot of jazz and jazz fusion artists and many, many others as well as I look through this list here. Incredible drumming that perfectly captures a certain flow with the music, but also a deep abstract thought that's happening as well. Like that's perfectly capturing, I'm sure, what Bowie was trying to put down here. The bass from Tim Lefebvre, wonderfully like dark and beautiful. But when the sax came in, I love the sound that it brought into the music there. Like this glorious light and color coming into this dark cave. And at first I thought the saxophone was actually going to be Bowie himself, since of course he plays, but it's not. You're going to have Donnie McCaslin on flute that we would hear later on, and of course the saxophone here. And looking at his work and who he's worked with. Once again, a lot of people, a lot of jazz musicians. Bobby McFerrin, I see him here. Sun Kill Moon, I've heard of them. I see it's a long list of people he's worked with, but not so many that I'm familiar with. But really, really great work. That saxophone solo was very emotional and intense with its emotions, bare with its emotions. And it wasn't just a full-blown climactic blowing the horn as hard as you can do it. Lots of subtlety, lots of presence, even in those subtle moments. And I think that was just wonderful, wonderful to listen to. And on this album, Bowie's still working with Tony Visconti as well. They've been working together for a very long time. And I love that even at this point, still working together and doing their thing. And then as the music moves from its mournful openings into that halfway point, then it begins to change. And you hear that kind of crossfade happen as Bowie's moaning from the first part kind of begins to fade out. And new rhythm begins to beat in that halfway point. And that's when it starts to sound like his old 70s self. And it's cool to kind of have a musical callback to that, almost as if trying to remember, relive past glories and former times, you know, before, of course, we get back to the end of this track, which brings back the beginning kind of mood as well. This is just a very interesting structure and composition overall, and there's a lot happening. Now let's dive on into this one. We're going to have a lot to try and analyze and parse out. We'll do our best. I like to listen. I know that there's a bunch of annotations. There's a whole Wikipedia article. I'm going to come up with my own interpretation based on what I heard and what I read. We'll go from there. In the villa of Ormond stands a solitary candle. In the center of it all, your eyes. On the day of execution, only women kneel and smile. At the center of it all, your eyes. Then it repeats those lines again. Something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter and stepped aside. Somebody else took its place, or his place, and bravely cried, I'm a black star, I'm a black star. And that's where the music kind of changes there. So we're, in a sense, at least picture-wise, witnessing an execution. He says only the women kneel and smile. Like the women are the ones that are kneeling, like, perhaps in prayer, and smiling. Why are they smiling? Are they smiling like, yeah, this guy who's about to get executed is finally getting his just desserts? Or is there perhaps another reason? Now, it's saying that only the women smile, or rather that the women kneel and smile, implies that the men stay standing and maybe don't smile. Maybe the men feel like this is wrong or something. So there's an implication there perhaps. And from the executed, or about to be executed point of view, he says, at the center of it all is your eyes. Like as this person is figuratively standing on this execution block looking out into the audience, at the center of it all, he specifies one specific person. Then we get here, something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter and stepped aside. Like Spirit didn't rise up all the way to heaven, just a little bit, and stepped aside. Somebody else took his place and bravely cried, I'm a black star. How many times does an angel fall? How many people lie instead of talking tall? He trod on sacred ground. He cried loud into the crowd, I'm a black star, I'm a black star. Like at the moment of his execution, at the moment of his death, he says something, happened. His body was replaced with someone else, or his spirit was replaced with someone else, and crying, I'm a black star. I really feel like this section here could be a reference to his old self, perhaps old persona of Ziggy Stardust and, the angel falling and coming down from the sky, something coming in, right? I can't answer why. Just go with me. I'm going to take you home, take your passport and shoes, and your sedatives, boo. You're a flash in the pan. I'm the great I am. And of course, while he's speaking all this, he's saying, I'm a black star, not a film star, not a pop star, not a Marvel star. Like, I'm a black star. So I'm keeping in mind the whole, right before his execution, his spirit rose and something else took place, which constantly says, I'm a black star. So what does Bowie mean when he continually references himself as a black star? And then disavows all these other titles that he continually mentions? Is he acknowledging stardom while at the same time acknowledging a certain darkness in his stardom? Maybe in his career, within himself, perhaps? I'm a black star, way up on money, I've got game. I see right, so wise, so open-hearted pain. I want eagles in my daydreams, diamonds in my eyes. I'm a black star, I'm a black star. Something happened on the day he died. I repeated that again. I can't answer why, but I can tell you how. We were born upside down, born the wrong way around. I'm a black star, not a gang star, not a porn star, not a wandering star. I'm a black star. He's reaffirming what he is. And then it, of course, comes back to the execution scene, standing the solitary candle, which could, of course, that solitary candle could be representative of him his life about to be extinguished, of course, or that solitary candle could also represent someone lighting perhaps a prayer candle for him as he's about to be executed. Now, that's my interpretation. That's what I'm getting at. Let's dive into this. All right. It says it was released as the lead single from this album. It's 26th studio album. Peaked at number 61 on UK singles and chart number 70 on the French singles. Has some obviously good chart success. It says it was the longest song to enter the Billboard Hot 100, overtaking Harry Chapin's A Better Place to Be, until Tool broke the record. All right. There's a lot going on in this one, right? Art rock, avant-garde jazz, progressive rock, electronic. All described as the blah, 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 features a drum and bass rhythm, two-note tonal melody with hints of Gregorian chants, of course, from Bowie himself doing those shifting tightness signatures. The bluesy, slow middle section of the song shifts from an acid house groove to a languid R&B flavored interlude. It says similarities have been drawn between Bowie's song and Elvis Presley's song Blackstar, which contains the lyrics, "When a man sees his black star, he knows his time has come." Okay. And it's the repeated line at the center of it all is also printed in Bowie's. Okay, let me before I move on. Then in a case, like I said, this is him kind of seeing his own death. Then, in this case, when he says at the center of it all, seeing this person's eyes, your eyes at the center of it all, that person could be death. That could be death personified in this village. Right? I don't know where Orman is. Perhaps that's a reference somewhere. But it's I think the personification of death is who he's looking into those eyes. Try playing chess with him. Maybe you'll win your life. Let's see. The song was originally over 11 minutes long, but after learning that iTunes would not post singles over 10 minutes in length, they edited it down to 9:57. Bowie did not want to confuse listeners by releasing different single and album versions. There's the music video, which we'll look at here shortly. Okay, so not as much information as I thought about this track, but I do think that Blackstar is death, or at least what he's looking out at is death. Here's all the chart information here. Looks like highest position here would be in Japan at the Hot 100 over there. That's at least what I'm kind of thinking when I'm looking at this. You're a flash in the pan, not a Marvel star. I am the great I am. He's a star that's reached up to the highest of highs, the highest of heavens and such when it comes to his stardom. But at the end, death comes for all. And so you will become a black star. Death overtaking you would be that blackness, I'm imagining. Especially, once again, as he says, right on the execution block, his spirit leaves, this other spirit comes in and says, I'm a black star. I think that's death. All right. I think I'm catching what's being put down. I think I'm getting right in there a little bit. That was an incredible song and like really a cool diversion and complete difference from what I usually am used to and hearing with Bowie. I thought that was an amazing track. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. Thank you once again. I appreciate the suggestion and the sponsorship on this one, Eric. Let me know your thoughts. Did I press the button already? No, there it is again for you. Down there, like button, buy me a coffee. If you want to go ahead and request songs, but you want to jump the line, as Eric did today, or on Patreon, exclusive content. It's not just the music video I'm about to watch, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please come back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a beautiful one out there, because it is quite nice. And I'll see you all later. Bye. That was an amazing piece of music, though.